Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Robbie Honey. I'm in Zimbabwe and I'm going to be in conversation with Paul Hawkins today. Paul is a friend and a florist. Hello, Laura. Looking forward to speaking to you in a couple of weeks. And I've known Paulie as long as I have been a florist, and I even freelance for him at some point. And he is coming in here as Fabulous Flowers TV. Let's open your request. And Paul will be joining us shortly.
Hi.
And there he is.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you? I'm so bad with technical things. Am I there? Can you see
You're
me?
there. It's always a bit of an adjustment afterwards to make sure that you're not chopped off. But that's good. I think we're both here.
I'm here. Hi there. How's it going?
Hello, Paulie Hawkins. So nice to see
Robbie
you.
Honey. Lovely to see you.
I was trying to think. I mean, I think I've probably known you my whole floristry career, and I freelanced for you way back in the day after I finished training with Ming Vivas Carter. And I was living in Earls Court Square, and you were living the other side of Earls Court Road in what square?
Gosh.
Was it a square?
No, I was living down in the Billings, down near the other side of Brompton Cemetery on the Fulham Road. But
No, it was before that.
Oh, Barkston Gardens.
Barkston Gardens, that's the one.
Yeah.
I was on one side of the Earls Court Road, and you were in Barkston Gardens.
Happy days indeed. I know, when I was 3 and you weren't born.
Hilarious. Wow. So where are you? You're in London.
I'm in London. I'm in my cucina, and it's a bit grey here and a bit overcast. What's it like in Zimbabwe?
It is sunny but winter. So
okay.
Yeah. And you sent such a lovely picture of your garden.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
It's very pretty, but you said it's a bit overcast.
Sorry, I keep jumping in. Too many coffees. Yes, it's a little bit overcast here, but thank you. The garden is very lovely, but I was trying to sort of organize the camera to go that way, but it was too bright. So it's kind of leafy and a lovely refuge in town.
It is quite a challenge, as you see by my detailed instructions of how to arrange yourself for an Instagram TV.
I literally was thinking, oh my goodness, something's going to happen. The dog's going to bark. I don't know, the door's going to go. But anyway, it's all part of it.
We're entirely relaxed. My friend Pam Summers, who I was in conversation with earlier this week, she's throughout my Instagram TV interviews has been giving me feedback about how and what and how and where. And then finally she did it. She was like, flipping hell. So I wouldn't have been giving you all that feedback if I realized how complicated it is.
It is a little bit.
Right.
Sorry?
She realised how complicated it is to set it up and get it right.
It is a little bit, but it's good, and we're here, and I'm loving your lockdown hair, Robbie. It's looking great.
Yeah, my lockdown hair. I've been wearing a man bun when I'm, during the day, which is horrid.
I can possibly comment. I'm sure it looks lovely, and all the girls must love it.
Talk about curly hair, Mr. Hawkins.
Well, no, mine was very big. It looked a bit like my grandmother, and so last week I had a chop because it just looked a bit like a big cauliflower and a sheep on my head. So I'm looking a bit under control today. Anyway, let's not talk about my hair. But anyway.
Oh no, let's talk about your hair. So I chose a picture to post of you. You said you can't possibly post that. I look like I've got a perm.
Well, normally my head does go very curly. You've got that nice big curl. I've got like fuzz, and so thank you. Not that I'm vain or anything,
Come on, everybody never has the hair they want. My hair is like vaguely wavy. I wish I had a decent curl. Your hair is like way curly. You're like a sheep, and you have wavy hair. There we go.
But anyway, here we are.
When did you get back to London?
Got back to London about 2 weeks ago, and obviously all my weddings and parties have been cancelled, but I'm lucky enough to have a contract round in London. So during lockdown, I put in lots of orchid plants, so at least some of them had some kind of floral joy, put it that way. So it's harsh on the industry, but I was at the flower market this morning, and it was like, normally in July it would be crazy and bustling and and it was like a February day. But I think we've just got to do what we can really and get on with it really.
Gosh, yeah. I am thinking of coming back in about 2 weeks, which is going to be interesting. And Yeah, it's a bit of a strange thing. But you're back in London. And where were you in the country? You've got a house down there, you and Steve.
Yes, lucky enough to have a little cottage just in West Sussex, near where I was brought up, near the town of Petworth,
Yep,
which is
I know
very
that well.
beautiful. And it's surrounded by vineyards, and it's in the middle of the South Downs National Park. So plenty of floral inspiration and hedgerow loveliness. And I've got a
Which
garden.
vineyards are you surrounded by?
Not telling you. Sorry?
Which vineyards are you surrounded by?
Some very lovely ones in the Petworth area.
Not Wiston, no.
No, Whitton. Oh, that's not far. No, these
Yeah.
are they're called Upperton, which is the
Upperton.
and they do all the and also Nye Timber, which is that
Night Timber.
famous.
Oh, right, I know Night Timber.
Yeah.
I'm here, Pam Summers. She's just arrived. Pam, can you see that Paul has an orchid on his shoulder? And you didn't even have to be told to, and you do.
Hello, Pam. Hi, Pam.
Paulie, tell us, star of stage and screen. You were a child actor.
I was a child actor indeed. Lots of West
Good
End. I
story.
was Oliver in the West End, aged 10, so just a couple of years ago, in Cameron Mackintosh's first production, which was amazing. Then in The King and I at the London Palladium, and then lots of telly, and then gave it up and became a florist, in a nutshell.
And you were on stage with Rupert Everett and Nigel Havers, however we pronounce that.
No, oh, that was in a play called Another Country. Rupert Everett, no Nigel. It was Rupert Everett.
There was somebody else.
Kenneth Branagh.
Kenneth Branagh.
Someone called Kenneth Branagh. And Daniel Day-Lewis. Lovely.
That's who I was thinking of. Daniel Day-Lewis. Well, it's amazing. And then that became later to become on a film which Rupert Everett was in.
Which I wasn't in. Anyway, I've learned.
I tell people you were in the film. He was in Another Country, you know.
No, it was the West End play, darling. Glad you asked. Yeah.
Which it first started.
Yeah.
And then you became a florist. How did you become a florist?
Well, I just decided that acting wasn't for me, and ended up working for lots of interior decorators, thinking that's a lovely artistic thing to do. I worked for Colfax and Fowler, Jane Churchill, Osborne and Little, Nina Campbell. I mean, I did a real.
You did them all.
I did them all. Tick, tick, tick. So that was great.
Colfax and Fowler, Jane Churchill, and Nina Campbell. Wow, that's an impressive.
Yeah, I was definitely tarting through them, and it was great fun. And then I decided that I'd love to do flowers, so went and worked for someone called Robert Day in Pimlico Road, who
absolutely.
Was amazing, and learned so much. I remember my season ticket when I lived in Hampshire. My season ticket was £86 a week, and I was earning £80 a week. But it was
that sounds like floristry.
Yeah, but I was learning so much. Then I did an apprenticeship for 2 years at Moyses Stevens, which was great. You know, wiring. It wasn't like a 5-day course. It was kind of 2 years. You were in the workroom, didn't touch a flower for 6 months, greening up, wiring, going on jobs. It was always a luscious job at Claridge's or something. And then set up by myself in 1991.
Hi Flo, Florist Vandenhood is there. I promise I will respond to your email.
Hi Flores.
So that's so interesting. So Ming, who trained me, was never allowed to touch a flower, never allowed to, touch anything for her first year. And it was all quite very stern. And then when Ming taught me, she just threw me in the deep end. So where was after your apprentice for that 2 years, which was a long time? So you went Robert Day, Moyses Stevens, very traditional. Yeah. Then what happened?
Then I set up by myself, and
my story too.
I know. I just thought great, and it was a lovely woman called Jennifer Darbo ran it.
Yes.
And she was amazing. And when I left, I'd been running the Ralph Lauren contract there for 2 years. This was in then. And when I left to set up by myself, she said, "Why didn't you have it, darling? Such a lovely thing to do." So I started with the Ralph Lauren contract, and that ended up snowballing into lots of other things, lots of other lovely things. And a lovely contract round, lovely weddings and parties, which has led me to where I am now, which is just
still doing all.
Yes, I love it.
Still doing all the same. Jennifer Darbo, so was she running Moyses Stevens?
Yes.
And did she have a house in Odium in Hampshire? Am I making that up?
She lived at the Mellon House at I don't want to say, but Blenheim. Yeah, she rented
a melon house at Blenheim.
Yeah, was it Blenheim?
Seriously,
I think it was Blenheim. It was very, very lovely.
It's called Melon, the Melon House.
The Melon House. Yeah, I think it was
extraordinary.
I know. I want to live in the Melon House at Blenheim. So she lived there and was so lovely to work for. But very often there'd be sort of, you know, a lot of dramatics. But you know, she liked me and I liked her, and she was just wonderful and very sadly missed, actually, Jennifer.
But you love a bit of theatre, Paulie.
A bit of what?
Theatre.
Love a bit of theatrical, darling, which is leading me on to what we're doing at the moment, which is very, very exciting. So,
Fabulous Flower TV, Fabulous Floral TV.
Fabulous Flowers TV, which I set up with my wonderful producer friend Lucy Nolan, who is an amazing producer. She, in the 80s and the 90s, did all Tina Turner videos and Phil Collins, and then later on Keane and all that sort of thing. So she's very experienced. And she wrote an amazing TV series for Flowers, which didn't happen. Lockdown came along, and she said, "What shall we do?" So we said, "Let's do a podcast." So it's the Fabulous Flowers TV podcast, and we've done 12 of them now, and it's just great fun. Every week there's a different flower we discuss, the meaning of it, and then we've had some lovely guest speakers on. Robbie, you a little excerpt.
You did for British Flowers Week.
Yep, which was very lovely of you.
Do you think that your TV program will come out of it at the end?
That's what we'd love to do. But in the meantime, we're doing all these little films that are coinciding with our podcast. So if we, like last week, we did a lovely one with lovely Rose B. Mawson at the.
I'm glad you could catch hold of her. She's impossible to tie down. Yeah,
no, she's gorgeous, and we were sort of saying how lovely you are, and other things like that. So we filmed there. So each podcast we do a little film to latch onto it, which is all available on our YouTube channel, which everyone must subscribe to, fabulousflowers.tv. Little plug there. So
we can keep plugging.
Yeah, no, it's great fun. And Lucy's just been amazing to work with, and it's such fun, the banter, and I think to just chat about flowers and the meaning of them during the last miserable few months has been a great privilege. And we've also been, lots of the National Garden Scheme gardens couldn't open, so we went and filmed at those, so people could see what they actually had in their garden, because they couldn't show them because of lockdown. So it's been a great fun journey, and loving it, really enjoying it.
I need to catch up. I've been so involved with doing these, I haven't been watching, and I must.
Well, no, you must. They're great fun.
Absolutely. And what I should have done, Paulie, is put your Fabulous Flowers TV in my bio, and except I put the video from your website, so apologies for that.
Oh, don't worry, it's never too late. We can always do something. But is that a lovely orchid behind? Is that an orchid there?
It is. It's a very strange orchid. It's called a nun's orchid. It's Fias tankervillier. It's very strange colouring.
That's beautiful. I mean, looks like it's made of paper.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. Now it's out of the picture. You've got to have an orchid on your shoulder when you are.
But
those aren't
as glamorous as yours. But anyway, you know, what can you do?
So you've just continued. You still work in fashion. You did beautiful, Fabulous Flowers TV. Yes, somebody's asking that. Well, I must keep up with these. Melody Ann Cox. Yes, Fabulous Flowers TV. Check it out.
Yes, Fabulous Flowers, or the website www.fabulousflowers.tv, and everything's on there. Our lovely website. So thank you.
And you had I saw the beautiful picture of peonies for Diane von Furstenberg on your website. So pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, well, obviously seasonality, you're a seasonal boy, and I think, you know, it is so depressing to see peonies at Christmas. I never forget years ago being at the flower market and Kenneth Turner coming up to me pointing at some peonies and saying, "They're so depressing, aren't they?" And I thought, what does he mean? Then of course I realised it was so depressing to see peonies at Christmas time. I mean,
yeah, totally.
I mean, really, you know, I mean, I just think, well, what would you use at Christmas time, Robbie? A bit of mistletoe, a bit of twig?
Bit of twig, glitter twig. I tell you, Christmas decorations, I grew up adoring Christmas. I mean, absolutely adoring Christmas. And I remember when my uncle and aunt bought some Christmas decorations from Canada. You know, they were just incredible. We just had quite grotty old Christmas decorations. Now I look back on them, they were really beautiful, sort of, those mercury glass birds and little
stunning.
elves. Anyway, I got that icicle tinsel and all these baubles and everything.
And lametta, that stuff, lametta, that looks like cobwebs.
Exactly. And then better peonies than poinsettia.
Who's saying that?
Pam. No, I don't think you said you were going to make lots of comments, Pam. No, I would prefer a poinsettia at Christmas.
Yeah, I like a poinsettia, Pam. And amaryllis.
You could just leave now, Paul.
So bye.
So Christmas. So then I got into the world of floristry, obviously, and did a lot of Christmas and worked. You work through the night. You know what it's like to set up Christmas trees, and you work and somebody's bound to cry at Christmas, and you get glitter in all places you just don't want to, and it's there for a month afterwards. You keep finding it. And then I obviously have my own business and doing. You do. I don't know how many ridiculous Christmas trees. In Christmas, and now I'm just so over it, which is terrible. I'm like so unenthusiastic about a Christmas tree.
I couldn't possibly comment. I love Christmas and I love Christmas trees.
You're still doing lots of it.
Well, I am. Down in my house in Sussex, I've got what I call the piggery, which is an old building which is full of endless. I open the door and go, shut the door again, because Christmas it does come around quicker every year somehow. But
a lot of florists loathe it. Loathe it would be strong. Don't look forward to it.
I know. I mean, I used to love Christmas as a child, but I do like a lovely wreath, filled with kind of scrummy hedgerow loveliness. Lots of.
Well, you're known for your beautiful wreaths, and they're often on the covers of. Is it House and Garden? Yeah.
Had a house and garden. Had a homes and gardens. Thanks for asking. Yeah, back in the day, and they were hastily made into Christmas cards.
Beautiful Christmas cards. I remember them.
Oh, thank you, Robbie. But we always had so much fun working together, and I always remember lots of kind of jolliness. And I just remember one job. I'm going to tell this story.
Which one is that?
Yes, not that one. No. We were doing a job kind of miles out of town, and that's my telephone. Apologies. That's nice. Sorry, everyone. And we ran out of foliage, and you disappeared and came back with a tree. Can I tell that story? I've told it, but it was so brilliant.
I think you sent me off to get the tree.
I did.
I just go and get the tree.
Well, I didn't know where we were. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and we'd run out of foliage. And
no, it was a hotel. It was in the grounds of a hotel.
I think yes. I think it was yes. Anyway. Not that I condone foraging too much, but anyway, you were brilliant, darling, and we had so much fun back in the day. So
civic pruning, I think they call it.
That's it. Moving on, but no, I loved the foraging, and it was so great during British Flowers Week just to sort of embrace all things British, and we went and visited some really lovely growers, as well as lovely Roseby at the Real Flower Company, but some little tiny ones as well. Girls who just
tell us about.
Sorry?
Tell us about some of them.
Well, there was a lovely one called Flitterbrook Flower Farm. Don't make me say that again. Down in East Sussex, Flitterbrook. And a really lovely girl who just chewed up the lawn and planted it with just a plethora of loveliness last year. And the self-seeding and the wonderfulness and all the bouquets, they don't last very long. So you can't really use them for contract work. They're not bomb-proof, but they're just so great for a little party or a little je ne sais quoi. Is that Pam again? No.
Is that what?
Is that Pam? I thought I saw Pam coming up, but it wasn't.
I know Pam will say something.
So we love the British
Pam's sibling was doing the same to her the other day, ribbing her whilst we were talking. And all of these can be seen on fabulousflowers.tv as you upload videos.
All on there. And it's just so nice to see that these lovely girls let me pick from their garden, and then we sort of did a fun arrangement, which was great fun. And it's just so nice to sort of use native flowers, and they're all slightly different and a bit mad. But as I said, for contract work, for my contract work, I do need.
Yeah, you couldn't. I think that's possibly been said about you, Paulie, a bit different and a bit mad. Would that be fair?
And bomb-proof. Well, I've had my moments. Yeah.
Favorite contract flowers? Gosh, I mean, I remember contract rounds getting up at 2 in the morning. I was living in Highgate in North London and getting in a taxi, getting down to Vauxhall, doing vases all lined up, which had been greened up the week before, not the week before, the weekend before, and then setting out and driving around London. I have no good bearing or sense, and I'm not very good at reading maps. And the first few contract rounds, I mean, it was just a disaster. And I couldn't find anywhere. But once you know your contract round, it's easy. You almost drive it yourself, which I'm sure you do.
Absolutely, and I've got a lovely team of girls. The lovely Hannah, the lovely Kelly, and the lovely Emma. Bit of a shout out. And
hey, Lucy.
And a few guest appearancey ones, and other freelancers I use to go away on a large job. But the freelancers are so supportive, and I do lead, especially when we go away. You know, if we're going off somewhere in Europe, all the flowers are shipped there. We all arrive with our scissors. Is the hotel nice? Is there a pool? No, I mean a bit like that. But and they're
away jobs are always fun.
What, darling?
Away jobs are always fun.
They are. But I do lean on my freelancers, and I always choose them for their different skills. So one of them will be fabulous at buttonholes, which I hate doing. Wiring, I hate wiring. Just give me a big urn. That's what I like to do.
Never give Dean Claydon wiring, because he's fabulous at a big urn.
Okay.
Wiring, yeah.
Hi, Dean, if you're watching.
Is she good at wiring?
Who?
Heidi.
Heidi? Do I know Heidi?
You just said Heidi if you're watching. Oh, hi, Dean. Sorry.
Hi, Dean.
Hi, Dean.
Who's Heidi? Anyway.
Who's Heidi? No idea. I wonder if we probably use some of the similar freelancers. I'm sure it's quite a small pool.
Is it?
All my old favourites: Moira and DJ, Dean,
yes.
Mandy, Vinny. Gosh,
yeah,
that's going years.
Showing your age now, Robbie.
I'm not much behind you, Paul Hawkins.
No, you're thousands of years younger. Do you miss your big event days? You know, with your big events.
Honestly, not at all.
It's stressful.
What's that?
It's stressful.
Yeah. And depending on how big you are, managing a team, managing people, overheads, you know what it's like. And I'm sort of asked, would I go back into big events? I'm not sure that I would. I think I'm I wouldn't say I'm a much better educator, because I love what I do and I'm good at it, but I really enjoy teaching and sharing. But I don't know what's going to happen next year. I mean, I've been going to China for 7 years and nobody knows what's going to happen.
No, that's true. I mean, it is a stressful business. This is actually vodka, but
Cheers.
But it is. Cheers, darling. What have you got there? Minty something lovely.
Yeah, a minty lemonade. It's not lemonade. I don't know what it is. Yeah. Lemon. We made Missouri lemon cordial, rough skin lemon cordial.
Oh, how lovely!
Delicious.
Well, you could always sell that over here. You know, start a little business. Robbie's cordial.
Something like that. How is Stevie?
Stevie's very well. He's working very hard. He just helped me set up this phone thing. The phone is taped to the coffee machine with some tinned mackerel beneath it to hold it up. It's really state of the art and ruining the whole illusion. But he's very well, thank you for asking. Working very hard and working from home. So that's, good. Working from home can be, I think, stressful for everyone, can't it? But we're lucky that he can,
just to say, my telephone is what do I use? A microport. Microport to my laptop. Like medical microport. It comes off.
Okay. Brilliant.
And you can adjust it. Still Missouri. I'm not sure. Margie's asking about Missouri. Missouri is an orange cordial. Missouri still exists. But the lemons we use are Missouri rough skin lemons. That's a really off-piste.
How delicious. How delicious.
So you've always had dogs. You've always had a dog with its head out of your van. Some of them have been friendly and some of them will bite your head off if you lean in and say hello.
Yeah, we had Max for many a year, who was like a Battersea Rescue. Opposite the flower market, there's the obviously Battersea Rescue there. And he was very ferocious. He would have I didn't ever have to lock the van.
And who was before Max?
There was Harry the Stinker, who was a Dandy Dinmont.
That's who I knew. Harry, yeah. First time I ever met a Dandy Dinmont. Yeah.
Yeah. he's a damn gentleman. And then Max sadly died last year, but 18, great run. We've got Mungo now, who's a little Lucas Terrier, who's sort of gingery and.
I've met Mungo.
Yes, and I have to give him a bath regularly because all my freelancers get in the van and go, "Oh my God, that smell of the dog!" And of course, when it's your own dog, you can't smell it anyway.
No, totally. And he's not ferocious. Although I'm always very. Whenever I see a dog in your van now, I'm just a bit like, not going to lean in too close.
Yes, exactly. And some of the freelancers can get a bit growly too. Joking.
No names mentioned. And I often see you driving over Chelsea Bridge because that's my hood, and you're heading to the market.
Heading to the market. Yeah, I mean, Mondays, I had to get there at about sort of 4-ish. And when I first started, I never used to go that early. I used to order all my flowers. I still order them, but it was so funny because I'd always go a bit later. And Paul Thomas, who's, as to those who don't know, is a marvellous, legendary florist.
Legendary florist, Mr. T.
Amazing, Mr. T. And he said to me, whenever I see you at the market, I know that I shouldn't be here anymore because it's obviously quite late.
That's me. Yeah, people always say it's a bit early for you, Rob.
What, 9 o'clock?
Yeah, if I turn up, or if I turn up at 7, but early for you, Rob.
But I mean, it can knock you out for the week. And getting up really. I mean, I don't do 2 o'clock anymore. I do 4. It's been known 4 o'clock. Yeah, but it goes to the territory, doesn't it?
Paulie, how did we actually meet? I was trying to work that out, and I don't know if it was through Mr. Thomas, Mr. T. Was it Neil Burks? I don't think so.
No, it wasn't, because Neil was another lovely Monday boy of mine back in the day. Hello, Neil, if you're watching. Maybe Justin Van Breda?
No. No, I mean,
it was through Paul Thomas. And Neil,
was it?
Neil went to work there, and you were impossible to get hold of because everyone wanted you to work for them. It's true. It was through Paul Thomas.
I think I got fired from Paul Thomas. Only as a freelancer. I can't remember why. Anyway.
God, I mean, I really wanted to go and work for Paul, and I had an interview there when I was at Moyses, and he offered me the job, and I thought, great, I'm going to go and work there. I'd done a long time at Moyses, and then I went back, and Jennifer Darby, my boss, said to me, "You're staying. I'm offering you more money." And sadly, I never went to work for Paul, and I sort of regret that because he's amazing. But still, anyway.
And there's Mr. Connolly's just joined. Hello,
Shane. Hi, Shane. He's not 70-year-old Robbie.
He probably watched Paul.
Has he watched Paul? Shane, I
don't know. He probably will now.
I'm sorry, I'm grassing you up there. Hi, Shane. Anyway.
Oh, funny. So did you? Is Robbie's hair the before to Paul's after? See, there he goes.
Is Robbie's hair the before to Paul's after? I think so. Yes, he's been sassooning. I haven't. Well, I think I have, and you haven't.
I've had an air dry.
A scrunch.
No, you definitely no scrunching. No, that's bizarre.
If I leave my hair to dry, it's boring about my hair. But if I leave it, it just goes enormous. This is a bit of a anyway. Enough of the hair, Shane. Anyway, Shane.
I think you're rocking a Gloria Hunniford there.
Thanks very much. But no, I have you say that. But you have to keep with the Fabulous Flowers films we're doing. We have to keep the continuity a bit. But the thing is, when it is blow dried and I'm in the rain and we're doing a film, suddenly Lucy will say to me, "Oh, your hair's looking suddenly different because it's got rainy and it's turned into kind of Garfunkel." Anyway, but never mind. It's part of the joy of it all.
I mean, you do keep on having those poodle perms.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, that's it. I love. Right, you wait. Never had a perm, never will. Thank you. But anyway,
Shane is always ribbing me about my hair and saying I look like a sheep. I went to Korea with him and Paula, Shane, and Urkele Moroni, and
wow.
Basically, he said I look like a sheep most of the time, which is probably fair. I did. I had lockdown style hair. Anyway, enough about our wavy, curly hair.
Let's not talk about that.
Did you see Shane's haircut for lockdown? He tried to cut his hair.
Yes, it looks fairly. What's the word? Crew cut. Should we call it that?
Crew cut. Yeah.
Very glamorous. Very youth enhancing.
Um, putting the G in glamour, as always, Paul.
Oh. So what else is going on? Where are we now? We're in July. It seems so weird not to be doing weddings. I know that everyone's just sort of people are doing lots of other things, aren't they? Some florists have become greengrocers and are delivering vegetable boxes. Others are kind of doing a podcast. Glad you asked.
Yeah,
Back to the
we've
podcast.
both gone down that route. Yeah,
Yes,
filming.
I'm loving doing my podcast. And every week we do a different one. Last week's, the 12th episode, was on delphiniums and cardoons. And people don't really use cardoons that often. I know you do, and Shane probably would definitely, and Paul and people. But I'm quite a sucker for a cardoon. To those who don't know, is an
artichoke, kind of. Is it actually? I'm not sure it's the eating artichoke.
I wouldn't eat them. I mean, you'd have to boil them for a long time. Quite fibrous.
Yeah, I love an artichoke, and I can never say. Is it in Italian? Is it carciofo? Carciofo sounds like a sneeze.
Yes. But Lucy, the producer of the podcast, always makes me talk about the Latin of things. So I'm looking down my script, and the other day I just couldn't say it. So I just said, Lucy, can you tell me how to pronounce that? And she was like, yes. I mean, luckily she's a Latin kind of star.
Yeah.
Whereas
what was useless.
it? I think it was for ranunculus. Come on, what is it, Robbie? Ranunculus.
Ranunculus.
Ranunculi, isn't it? Ranunculus. There's a kind of a anyway.
Well, now you're putting me on the spot. They're basically posh buttercups.
Yeah, that's what I was calling them. But we like a bit of Latin, though. I mean, with your botanical work, you're up to your eyes in Latin, I should think, aren't you?
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I definitely speak a bit of botanical Latin, but I'm not. I am.
Oh, Lucy's just saying it was ranunculus. Thanks, Lucy. Yeah.
I mean, I did study a bit of botany, but I would say I'm a little bit self-taught, and my knowledge is not extensive, but I'm passionate about it, and I love plants, as do you.
I mean, I remember going for dog walks with you, with Harry the Stinker, and every shrub you'd walk past you, that's a ni na 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 na. I mean, and so it's obviously in the blood,
And Paulie, where are you in London now? You were in, not Bramham. Where did we just say?
Barkston Gardens.
You were in Barkston Gardens. Then you moved to the other side of Brompton Cemetery, and is that where you are now?
We're just in a little mews, not far, just off the Fulham Road, down that neck of the woods, which is very cosy and sweet. And they were once undertakers' cottages and canal workers' cottages for the canal that was here. That's sadly not anymore. It's now a railway.
We had a canal. I didn't know that.
A canal that went from where Chelsea Harbour is, Chelsea Creek, all the way up to Kentish Town. And it was a canal, and then they converted it to a railway in the war. Sorry, this is very boring, but
no, I think it's very interesting
to transport troops. But so yes.
So you live in an undertaker's cottage. Wow, that's something I didn't.
I do. But it's the history is amazing around here, and I love it. And lots of them were knocked down in the sort of the post-war years, but these ones survived luckily, so that's nice.
And you've got a garden.
Got a lovely garden. Sadly, if I angle that, no, I'm not going to do that. It will fall apart.
The mackerel will fall over.
The mackerel supporting it will fall off. But we've got lots of lovely lush tree ferns and stuff like that. I did have the camera angled that way, but it was too bright. And I mean, I do need backlighting, but anyway, that's another story.
For those of you who've just joined, I'm in a conversation with Paul Hawkins, and we are old friends, and we're just talking about times gone by. And we're also talking about fabulousflowers.tv, which he's been doing with Lucy Nolan. They're doing podcasts and films, and they're on YouTube. And Paul has joined us from their account. So do follow them and do check out their podcasts, and lots of fun.
Yes, I mean, as I said, we've done 12 of them now, and we've got a really lovely rapport, and people send in their lovely jars of deliciousness from the garden, and it's always fun to find out the different meanings of the flowers. So we do a lot of research into the different meanings, and it's always a good old fun banter. And as I said, what's been really super is to do films that actually relate to the different podcasts. So we've been here, there and everywhere, lots of lovely gardens, lots of lovely growers. And as I said, if you want to subscribe, do go to our YouTube channel, Fabulous Flowers TV. Anyway.
But this is all very good. I mean, you're so good at this because you're on QVC.
I am. I do a lovely. I do a lovely thing there for faux flowers, peony faux flowers, which is great fun for the lovely Julie Bates. They have a company called up at Ruckley, and they do the best faux flowers. So that's another string in the bow.
And
sorry.
And candles, scented
and
candles.
Candles. Yes, you just. Oh, yours are so lovely, Robbie. I have to say, really beautiful. Are you still?
No, we're almost on the last of our run, which Les Senteurs have got in Belgravia, but no longer.
Are you going to do them again?
I don't know. I think we did it twice. Not at the moment. No, not at the moment. I mean, I love doing it.
You're super smart. Really lovely. But they're a great thing to do. But I can't remember what I was saying now.
QVC. I'm sure you're marvellous on QVC.
It's great fun. It's a bit like, I don't know. You know, you're just hoping you're not going to say anything inappropriate.
Do you get to say things like that? And these wonderful, beautiful sweet peas, we've only got 4 left. And these are only, do you get to say that?
A lot of that, a lot of in the ear. And then there's a lot of lifestyling, which is wonderful. But it's such a lovely thing to do. And we're going to actually go and do a Fabulous Flowers film up at Ruckley later on in the year to show how good faux flowers can be. So that's an interesting one. And then, of course, dried flowers. We're going to do a Fabulous Flowers thing on dried flowers because they are coming back, which I think is brilliant. You know, that sort of musty fustiness isn't there. They're quite kind of contemporary and clean and not so sort of granny-ish.
Do you, we're going all sideways, do you remember where the old QVC building was?
Yes, just over the bridge.
I think the new build that I live in is on that site. I just realised that.
Oh, wow, overlooking the park.
Overlooking the park one side and the power station the other side.
Yeah.
That's why you always see me on that road.
Yes, I try and run you over, but no.
Do you remember that QVC building was extraordinary? How those enormous metal ball bearings, which sort of
iconic. It was like massive. It looked like something from some New York Bette Midler film in the 80s, didn't it?
It did. It was kind of white marble and not neoclassical, postmodern.
Grecian.
Anyway, what's that?
Grecian.
Kinda. It was pretty weird. And we've got some questions. Lovely Laura Dowling, who's with me on the 21st of July, has said, such fun conversation. What is Paul's favourite approach to making a big flowers?
My approach, masses of foliage first, a ground sheet, a very beautiful urn and plinth. Oh, I want to smell those, Robbie. They smell lovely. I mean, they look like...
Tortoise stems. 4th generation seed. Never do it. Always get new seed. Anyway, sorry.
Top tip. I really get a good, handsome urn and plinth. Definitely an assistant.
Always an assistant.
Yes. My top tip would be to have some bricks at the back of it. I'll never forget doing... do you remember Hardy Amies, the fashion designer? I did his memorial at St James's in Piccadilly, a beautiful church. And
lovely church. A big magnolia in front of it.
Yeah, stunning, absolutely beautiful. And we'd done these massive urns. And I went on my contract round after them being done, and I sent a freelancer in to check them. She said she walked in and one had gone. We hadn't put enough bricks in the back of it, and the whole thing had fallen forward. So yes, it sort of makes my blood run cold. So always stick bricks in the back of your urn. But she went in, she picked it up.
Oh, yeah.
Because it had fallen like that, it was absolutely fine. So
terrifying.
God bless Hardy. No one knew. Anyway.
And nobody was killed. The only time I've had urns nearly go over. And Lulu, who I work with, always would call them pregnant if they're about to fall over. They'd be very front heavy. But we had a birthday, and I was at Royal Hospital, Chelsea, and for some, it was blowing a gale. And on the outside, we had plinths and urns painted in that lovely light grey Farron ball.
Smart.
And we had big spheres of hydrangeas on top. And obviously the urns they were weighted, but they weren't weighted enough. And Bernie, who used to drive for me, sort of came out, he's like, put them out, he says, you saw these all right, Rob? And I'm like, yes, fine. He said, you saw Rob? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. Absolutely fine. Anyway, turn around and walk away, and suddenly, bang, bang, both urns, at which point the client arrives, coming the opposite direction through one of those big archways, and I'm like, just come this way, come and see the dining hall. There. And of course, freelancers put them back up, doing hydrangeas in, and nobody
I bet
knows.
were they fine? But it does make your blood run cold, that sort of thing. So urn, lots of foliage, twice as many flowers as you think you need, I would say. Always more, and just big and wild, lots of tubes, the extendable tubes, so you can get everything high, and just boughs and, wild. I mean, like one of your lovely ones, Robbie. I mean, beautiful. But sorry?
Go for it.
My ongoing nightmare is a bride ringing me from the altar saying, "Oh, hi, just wondering where my flowers are." That's sort of...
Well, my best is having been told exactly how many flower girls there are, and you've done exactly 7 very beautiful circlets, which freelancers spent hours individually wiring pips and then greenery and putting them all around. And then the one furious mother of the 8th bridesmaid who hasn't got her one and is taking it out on you, the florist, and suddenly you've got 3 freelancers making one in about 20 minutes.
The worst, actually, every florist has got a book in them, but I remember doing a wedding in Devon, driving back, I'd been there for 4 days, everyone had gone, had a few freelancers in the van, done. And then the phone went, and they said, "We're just wondering where the circlets are," the bridesmaidy bits. And we petrol station opened the back of the van, and they were still in the van. I don't know why, we'd just driven off with them in the van. This was about 25 years ago. Yes. Oh,
has anybody else lost sound? I don't think so. I can hear you, Melody. We will hold before we answer your question, Melody. Melody's asked us a question about free-form bridal bouquets. But once you tell us, she probably can't hear, we've lost sound. So we'll just
have we lost sound?
I don't think so. No,
Melody?
It appears just Melody has.
Sorry, Melody.
Yeah, the stresses and strains. Yeah, urns. I mean, it's all about good construction, isn't it?
Yeah. It is.
And there's wonderful tubes that we use that we stick on canes and things, which they don't tend to have in America. When I've taken and demonstrated and worked there, they're essentially putting in graveyards. They're to put on next to in cemeteries to put flowers in. Yeah, they're not floristry. What are they? Grave cones.
A floral tribute.
Tribute cone. So to those of you who I don't know what we're talking about. You get these plastic cones, which are sort of, they've got like a spike on the end, and you can stick them straight into the ground. Oh. And what we tend to do is it says grabbing pens, put canes on them,
and tape
them, and then they can go into the base of your urn, into chicken wire or floral foam, whatever you're using. Obviously, chicken wire nowadays, but they give you an extension. Because if you've got long branches of foliage and you try and put flowers in there, they just go down to the bottom.
Beautifully explained. I like that. No, so you do need the tubes, and I think grouping, and my tip would be, I never like to see things that grow. I think you should put them in how they grow. So I don't like to see delphiniums pointing downwards.
Ugh.
I know. I just don't like that. Think of how they grow, and heavy drifts. You like a big heavy drift in an urn, don't you, Robbie?
Love a heavy drift. The question that I ask people, which is so ridiculous that I ask it because it's my least favourite question, is favourite flower. I don't know why I ask it. I get really annoyed when I get asked it.
Not telling you. No. It's so difficult. I mean, I could say peony. Oh gosh, that's such a tricky one. I mean, I love a stock. Masses of white stalks in an urn, which brings me neatly back to one of my fabulous flowers films. We did a lovely urn. It's very much sort of your style, Robbie. A beautiful grey painted urn with a massive dome of just white stalks. It's quite a kind of a classic look, but I think a whole mass of white stalks can look very lovely. I know at the moment the fashion is to have a kind of a mixy look of kind of prettiness. Yeah. But I do like block. I like a bit of block.
So do I.
a sheet.
I remember with Ming, we did a summer wedding, and we somehow constructed plinths out of green apples going up, and then on the top of that was just a big fishbowl, and then a mass of pure white stalks. Oh, people hate the scent. I love the scent.
Oh, I love that. It's kind of clovey, peppery clove smell. No?
And then if you leave them in the vase too long, they smell like cabbage because they are cruciferous. Yeah.
Yes.
It looks like Melody can hear again.
Hi,
So
Melody.
who had a question. As designers, how do you feel about large, free-form bridal bouquets? Good question. I mean, I think they're quite a new, not that new a development, but I suppose in the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think Holly Chapel's definitely paved the way in where she uses chicken wire, or now she has a plastic egg that she uses. So you can get your stems in that way.
Yes, doing that totally.
Because if you put them in a bunch, they're all gonna. There he gets the sweet peas out again. They're all going to do that. But if you use them in an egg or chicken wire, you can really get them to be that kind of
that sort of thing. And
yeah. So what do you think? I love them. I'm not sure. I mean, I've definitely made a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah, I like them. And I think they've got a lot of lovely movement to them, and they've got a sort of old-fashioned charm, I think. I mean, I think that. I love that. I also like a lot of trailing and madness, especially for a country wedding. I think for a London wedding, I like to keep it a bit sort of clean and coutured, like a whole mass of something, that I've got a freelancer to wire.
Do you know what I used to love, and I don't think I'd ever do it again now, was a wired French posy, and just all roses, wired French posy, all wired tuberose with either Diamante Swarovski crystals in the center, and then camellia leaves underneath, and a tiny ribbon handle. I mean, I love that. But I couldn't do that anymore.
Sort of very sort of 90s Claridge's, isn't it?
Exactly.
Is it? Or a bit later than that?
Early, or let's say early noughties.
I love a camellia leaf. They're really beautiful, and they do that lovely sort of fanning thing.
Exactly underneath. Have you ever made a glamelia?
No.
Do you know what that is?
No. What's a glamelia?
So glamelia is an enormous camellia made out of gladioli petals. It is the rare. Oh yes. You've got to go on the internet, look one up. Glamelia. Maybe it's Antipodean of some sorts. I can imagine it being Australian, obviously, with the gladioli. So you take your individual gladioli petals and you create. I mean, it probably looks more like a big begonia.
Wow. Well, I think that sounds very charming.
But then you've definitely seen the ones where they get individual rose petals and do that.
Yes, to make a big rose. I mean, it is an art form, and I do take my hat off to that.
You don't.
But, I mean, my look, and it's very much sort of picked from the hedgerow and sort of artfully kind of tumbly and seasonal, I think I'd say.
Studied from the hedgerow.
Yes, I mean, it is an incredible thing. But do you remember in the 70s, those tomatoes made into roses? You're too young to remember that.
I wasn't born in the 70s, Paul.
No, okay.
I do. I know exactly. I was born in 75. I know exactly what you're talking about.
But those fiddled with flowers. I just fruit and things. I think I like things to look a bit picked from the garden and out with your trug. I mean, I love that, and that's what we did when we visited all these national garden scheme gardens. It was just so lovely to go out there with a trug and collect lots of lovely bits and pieces. And I felt really
Paul with a trug. I love it.
Yeah, trug addiction. Love that. Love a trug. So yes, and
it's over one arm, dog under the other arm.
Yes, and a bonnet. Yeah.
Lovely bonnet. Paul's always in a bonnet.
Always, never without.
Oh, funny. Laura Dowling. Do you know Laura Dowling's work? She was the florist at the White House, and she has this wonderful European style. She's going to be on next week. She's got a lovely new book out, and her work's extraordinary because she really works on the containers. So again, kind of natural country, but quite detailed and studied. Very beautiful.
Whenever I see, I mean, not that I see that many press conferences from the White House, but I always look and think, gosh, they've got a really super florist doing that. I mean, it always looks beautifully grouped and well considered. And not that I'm listening to the chat, I'm looking at the lovely flowers. You know.
Of course you are.
Absolutely.
Paulie,
Looks like you're going to ask me something really mischievous. Don't.
I could say something terribly mischievous, but I won't. Was it lovely being, although we were stuck in a time of COVID and you were in the country and you were locked down, did you and Stevie have a lovely time? He continued working.
Well, Stephen was up here. I was down there gardening and doing our lovely podcast, which we did one a week. So we've done our 12.
You've actually been very busy. Yeah.
Yes, it's been lovely. It's been lovely to create a garden. Apart from the cafe au lait dahlias I put in, have turned out to be bright orange, but that's fine. You know, I think we can live with that.
Actually, it's quite a relief. I'm so over cafe au lait dahlias.
Yeah. I thought actually that blush thing. I mean, very beautiful, but they're
beautiful. But I see another one on Instagram.
Yeah, I know they're slightly done to death. So the hot orange funkiness, actually, I quite like. But no, the lockdown was great. There was a lot of kind of dog walking, podcast writing, which was lovely.
Baking,
lovely Lucy. No baking. No, I didn't really bake. No, eating.
I started making bread. I mean, it's this ubiquitous lockdown. You either make banana bread or you make sourdough.
Yes.
So I got very good at sourdough, but now I'm bored with it. Started making my own yogurt, which is very easy.
Wow. My Aunt Daphne makes her own yogurt, and do you have to feed it?
No, that's sourdough.
Oh.
Yogurt's easy. You take some yogurt and you put. I mean, we've got a little machine thing, so it just does it.
And did you flavour? Did you flavour it or natural?
No, all natural. Straight up Greek. I'm a quarter Greek, so I like it Greek.
This quarter. You?
Yeah,
okay.
just this. Yeah.
Which just that bit. How wonderful. So what's your lockdown been like there?
Lockdown here it's been wonderful. I think I'm now coming to Lucy. If you could choose any bloom as a star performer, Robbie, what would it be? We'll feature it and then a return for another interview on Fabulous Flowers TV. Gosh. Lucy, I will think on that.
Who's asked that? I can't see
Lucy.
anymore.
You're Lucy.
Oh right. Yes. What would you choose, Robbie?
Gosh. I don't know.
I suppose it depends what season it is. What season?
What season would it be? I mean, in an urn. I mean, probably going into autumn, and probably just those beautiful English hydrangeas. I mean, you just can't get enough of them.
Oh my goodness. And they're so beautiful. They're lovely raspberry. In fact, one of our next podcasts is going to be on hydrangeas.
Oh, well, there we go. Yeah, I'm on trend.
Can we knock on your door?
My lockdown it's been good. I mean, it's one of those weird things that we've seen is I saw a graph, kind of a meme graph, which said 3 or 4 months ago, you know, COVID was like this and fear was like this. And now it feels like COVID's like this and fear's like that. So I think there was huge fear and not that much COVID. And now there's a lot of COVID obviously happening and it's beginning here. I think everyone's got a bit casual. So initially I didn't go out, everything came in.
Yeah.
And we've got 6 acres here in the garden, so I would just walk around that. And
lovely.
when it was a bit warm, I was swimming every day and I pruned everything in sight because it's winter. I'm about to start the roses. I planted municipal petunias. What do you say?
I was going to say, before we know it's going to be Christmas.
Yes, no, that's why I'm coming home.
Everyone needs floral mindfulness. This is true. We love a hydrangea. When are you coming home then, Robbie? Because we'd love to do something with the Cornish hydrangeas because they're such beautiful.
They are gorgeous.
Shades. You know, they start off quite pink and then they go really raspberryish, don't they?
And they come quite early in the season, actually. I'm coming home, I think, at the end of the month. So Ethiopian Airways has started flying every day, so I could book a flight for tomorrow if I wanted to, but I don't. So I'm going to the bush with my family to the Zambezi River next week.
Oh, wow.
Which will be lovely. 4 nights in a bush camp. So we'll be surrounded by all sorts of wonderful wildlife. And then I'll probably have 10 days, see if the sweet peas will flower, maybe catch the beginning of the wisteria, and then and then I'll be back.
No, Lucy's saying good for therapy. No, you're absolutely right. And I think during lockdown, what we've experienced is so many people have enjoyed listening to us chatting about flowers because it's just a joyous thing. And and actually, as I said earlier, it's been so fun to discover the meanings of the flowers and the folklore and the sort of Shakespearean context as well. I mean,
there you go, theatrical again, Paul.
I know.
Shakespeare.
Someone's asking, is Zim home? Oh, there you are.
That's Margie. Yes, Zimbabwe is home. Yeah, born and bred, but live in London. Yeah.
Oh,
now, are we coming into land? We are kind of.
Are we there? And I finished my vodka. It's not. It's water. Oh, Robbie.
Apparently, mine's a gin and tonic, but it's not.
Oh.
It's far too early in the day. It's 3 o'clock. So it's coming into 4 o'clock there. It's coming into 5 o'clock here.
It hasn't really. It's absolutely flown by, but it's been so lovely, Robbie, and you look so well, and it's been so nice to catch up.
It's been gorgeous to catch up, and see you on the other side.
Absolument, and I'll make sure I'm pressing the right button, and see you at the market, or let's go.
Again, just before we go, swing your camera around so we can see your garden without smacking the mackerel tins.
You can't really see it. It's a bit.
Oh, I can see it. It's lovely tree ferns.
Action, and then there's another.
What
else? Things like that. That's
well.
a television hovering up there.
Okay, and go the other way.
Okay, let's have it.
Because you've always got such
a kitchen table with computer screen on it.
Good, and lots of orchids.
I haven't really. It's just a boring kitchen. Anyway, just a boring orchid.
And Paulie, what do you do? What do you do with your orchids once they're finished flowering? Do you commit orchidicide?
Orchidicide. That's very good. No, I give them to some mad orchid lady friends who have a greenhouse, and
good.
Or I give them to neighbours, but I hate throwing them away. I really hate throwing them away.
I started trying to get them to reflower, so I'm on that. And then a little bit of general knowledge and Greek before we go. Do you know what orchid means in Greek?
No.
Orchis. Do you know what an orchidectomy is if you're a man?
Ooh, sounds painful.
It is. Orchis in Greek means testicle.
Oh, I see. Okay. Ah. Okay.
A lot of I mean, I'm not going to show you that orchid, but yeah, a lot of them have sort of yes.
Oh, like it's
bulbs.
Yes, throat. Yeah. Yes, a bit sort of testicular, perhaps. Is that the right word?
There we go.
And on that note, loads of love, darling, and it's been gorgeous. Thank you.
You know how to get out.
Yeah, I do. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Bye. Leave.
Thanks so much for joining me today. Laura Dowling's going to be joining me on the 21st, and I will be posting about that. Hope you have a good morning, evening, day, wherever you are in the world, and it's been a pleasure. Over and out.